I'm Linda. I'm 13 years old. I have autism and severe dyslexia, and my mentors are Chloe and Matt Arnold, and you shall see a picture of them. And also, I love urban, and I love Hollywood, and I love my puppies. And also, this is all about being my autistic self, and also I stumbled there, blah, blah, blah.
Welcome to this week's latest Tap Style. Lita, can you tell everyone hi?
Okay.
We have a special guest this week. Jeaneen Tang is a speech and language pathologist with over 20 years of experience working with early intervention to the elderly. She is specialized in early language development and has a passion for training parents, caregivers, and other educators on how best to address the needs of young children with learning to understand and express themselves. Her goal is to shake up how we approach language development and to decrease the number of children who need speech therapy. I absolutely have read your book, Play Dumb and Sabotage, a couple times. I am making all of our staff read your book. It is amazing. I am so glad to have you on to talk about this subject.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so great to hear.
We're going to try me setting up the questions and then Lita actually asking the questions. We'll see how this goes. As most of our listeners who listen on a regular basis know, we are opening up a nonprofit dance studio for autistic kids here in Colorado Springs. A lot, I would say about 90% of our dancers that are coming in have speech and language pathology. They have speech issues, or they're like Lita and they're graduates of speech and language pathology. Most dance studios introduce all the dance vocabulary at once. They're dumping everything like, here's the 5 ballet positions. We're going to teach you that the first day, and you need to remember everything we said. Or they do very large chunks at once. Lita, you want to ask the question real quick?
That you make that in the studio.
Okay, this is what happens when you make speech and language pathology issues with being shy and autistic. Is there a benefit to slowly introducing the language to students as they're coming into dance for the first time?
Absolutely. You should definitely see where these children are at, how quickly they can learn, right? And it's always best to make smaller chunks of vocabulary terms and hopefully use maybe a multimodal system to have them hear the words, have them visually see the words, and maybe have them have some other representation of what that word could be, how it could be felt, how it could be drawn, maybe. So introduce them and see what helps them solidify each of those vocabulary terms and not have everything exposed all at once. Because even myself, if I'm learning more than a handful of terms at one time, I'm going to forget half of them.
She's over there muted because she keeps going, see, she's been hearing me talk about your book and she's, see, why do they have to be taught this? This should just be second nature.
No, I'm just over here wondering why you want me to actually remember every 1,000,165 words you say in one single sentence person. Why do you talk so many words? I'm a person. I would have gone with 50 would have been better.
Yeah, smaller chunks are better, right? So we can absorb it, feel it, and make sure that we understand it.
As you can see, speech and language pathology did actually work for her. When I tell people she was diagnosed as nonverbal, they do not believe me.
Oh, I was listening to one of her podcasts and I really enjoyed her opinions about the parents jumping into a class every 5 seconds and how that the teachers didn't like that. So I really enjoyed her opinion and point of view.
I appreciate that. Can you say thank you, Lita?
Well,
She is still very shy. Yeah, it just happens, right? Following along on this, we keep being asked, we're bringing in some teachers who are not a therapist, who are just, we've got grandparents of autistic kids who are teachers. Some of these are just teachers who have a big heart and they've got like a niece or a nephew who's autistic. What are some of the top strategies that they could bring into the studio classes with speech and language pathology?
Yeah, some of the top strategies I would say is patience, right? We often need to be patient with these kids who learn differently. We have to think outside the box as well because we might learn something one way, but these children are all individuals and they're going to learn in individual ways. So we need to think outside the box and look at each child as an independent person rather than grouping them all together and saying they're going to learn this way and that's how they're going to be taught. And we need to be flexible in our
Right.
thinking and how we're able to perceive each child and how we're able to think about how we're going to be teaching. And I think it's also making sure we set these expectations up for what the class is going to be because a lot of these kids love structure, right? As you would know, they want to know what's going to
Yeah.
happen next. They want to know when things are going to be done. So if we say this is the these are the three things we need done, and then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and do a couple more things. As long as we set expectations, I think then those kids can manage it more readily rather than they don't know what's going to be covered in the class and when it's going to be over.
I'm wondering if this isn't something some of those neurotypical kids would like too some days.
Absolutely. I want to know when there's a break. If I go to a conference or something, I want to know what time is the break, how long it's going to be, and when is lunch.
The important things. Lita does a lot with her tap mentors, and wing cake is a very important thing. She is screaming without her microphone on, and that's how great it is. But she
Wow.
has a couple people who
I
don't scream,
would like
please.
to actually eat my food when I'm supposed to eat my food. And I don't want to eat lunch right before I'm gonna eat freaking dinner. And I would actually like to get out at a decent hour and not to go to bed at something at 11 or 10. Thank you very much.
I think most of us feel the same way when we go to conferences.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Um, I really did want to ask you about your book. I absolutely loved it. I kept thinking to myself, yes, this is something that I can't believe has to be written down.
Yeah,
Can you tell our audience a bit about your book?
absolutely. So it's called Play Dumb and Sabotage. And it's really about how we over anticipate all of our child's needs a lot of times, right? And the subtitle is Mindfully Under Anticipating the Children's Needs and Creating Opportunities to Practice Language. Because as parents, as caregivers, we often do so much for our kids, and then we don't allow them to naturally interact with their environment. I had one mom who her daughter needed speech therapy, and once we started therapy and the child was making progress, the mom was like, I didn't know I had to interact with her so much rather than my child is dry, my child is fed, my child has toys, my child has this and that. And then
The child
also
did not
going,
Lita.
yeah, they didn't. But now that they are here, we need to find ways in order to include them in interactions, include them in decision making. So oftentimes, a lot of kids these days, they are late talkers or they're delayed in their speaking because they don't really have to speak and they aren't really engaged in things like, hey, what do you want to wear today? Do you want to wear the red shirt or the green shirt? Even when they can't speak, right? I used to do that to my son. Do you want to wear the red shirt or the green shirt? And whatever he looked at, I'd be like, great, let's wear the red shirt. I love red. That red is the color of flower, whatever it is. You can talk about language bombardment and how we can bathe these kids in words so that they hear it, understand it. And like dance and music, everything is rhythmic, right? Everything is
Yeah,
has sounds and different pitches, intonations, and it makes more sense that way.
it does. And Lita definitely, she didn't have expressive or receptive language. And we had early child find where we were living at the time was like, she doesn't qualify for speech and language pathology because she can't speak,
Oh, well,
because they were triaging those kids who had the ability to learn. And dance is where she got And I can't promise it was dance, but her speech improved with her dance.
Absolutely. It taps into that multimodal system, right? So
Yeah.
whenever I work with kids, I want to not only let them hear what I'm saying, I want them to see what I'm saying, whether it's in a rhythm or clapping, and also feel it. So it could be dancing to the music, stomping our feet, clapping our hands, tapping on the table. So you can have this multimodal system in order to integrate all the information that your body is interpreting and then be able to understand it and express it better.
And I think we've been talking to parents around here. A lot of the autism dance classes, you have to be potty trained and verbal before you can take them, which kind of negates that 3 to 6 year old range for a lot of these autistic kids because words don't come easy to them. Potty training also doesn't come easy, but I keep trying to tell parents just go for it because it does. Movement helps.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My son, he has, as you read it in the book, he has a disability. He had a fall when he was 13 months old and he had a brain injury. And a few days later, he had a stroke. And they said he might never walk or talk, but he's going to be 12 very shortly. And he loves music. He loves dancing. He loves singing. And he can play basketball, even though he's only uses his left hand. He can do so many different things. And his love for music really helped him engage in reading better because he'll listen to a song on YouTube, but he'll play the version that has the words to it. So he's actually
Yeah.
reading the words, he's learning how to say the words to the music, and then that helps him with his reading comprehension as well. And it all ties together, and I think that we don't tap into that enough. And I would have to disagree with the whole potty training and nonverbal for dancing because they have little kids that do mommy and me classes or dance classes and they aren't potty trained. I think movement is so important from the beginning, even when they can't even crawl. Introduce them to as much music as possible.
We are not saying you have to be potty trained because if that was a requirement, I'm not sure a bunch of the kids I knew growing up would have been in dance because I grew up with a bunch of my friends were all autistic and verbal. You can learn the dance without necessarily having that expressive verbalness.
Yeah.
That's not a word.
And also, I think I'm working with so many children with autism and seeing them move to music and enjoy music. They might not all move the same way, but they're all interpreting the sound and the rhythm and expressing it within their own body. I think it's just beautiful to watch them understand it.
It is. And I think starting them early, if dance is not their thing, dance is not their thing. And I'm not going to say keep them in dance if it's not their thing. But I think starting them early gives them an outlet for expression.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Um, I did have one more question because we are, like I said, I had some of my teachers go, we are very interested in this after reading your book. It was very helpful to them. They were interested in because they've all been learning the early childhood and you're supposed to bring in the colors with dance in early childhood and the shapes. Can you do tap it out, clap it out, you think, with that sort of in a dance class like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I love clapping out syllables, tapping out syllables, stomping out syllables. And if you can do that to tap, I am not a tap dancer, but I am so impressed when I see people tap well. If you can start to tap out the different words, vocabulary, even a sentence, and have a rhythm to that sentence, I think that would instill more, it would solidify the language better in the child and make it more memorable because we can often remember words to songs and nursery rhymes for many years, but we can't remember a speech that we did in high school or college. And I think it'll definitely reinforce what they're doing.
I was trying to tell a few of them. One of Lita's first dance teachers, her baby tap teacher, he has dyslexia. He had speech and language problems. He taught them the dance moves like shuffle. It was to the syllables. She
Yeah.
still today will, and full lap. and she will do it that way. And that helped her out, and ball changed to the syllables. And they were like, wait, you can do that?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I remember a dance class and they're like, kick, ball, change. It's like every movement is part of a syllable, right? Kick, ball, change, or
Right.
whatever. Sachet, sachet.
Yeah, and I'm
Everything
like,
is, yeah, can do it. Absolutely.
and I pulled out Al Gilbert, who's old enough, he's dead now, but there are still studios who were using it. His way of teaching the tap, because he put it on records. That's how he put this down, as it was on record players. It was all very rhythmic. And I'm like, you guys learn this way. Don't you think your students would learn it? But, and it was all repetition. You would do the same exercises every single class, just adding on after a few weeks.
Yeah. I think there's so much more than just dance that goes to a rhythm. Like when I think about basketball, like playing basketball or doing volleyball, like doing certain motions is very rhythmic. And there's, when you're doing a layup, when you're doing any kind of movement, there is a rhythm to it. It's not chaotic. It's not just a rhythm to it. There's intention behind it, and it makes more sense, and it instills in your body that memory.
Yeah. I know my nephew does Rubik's Cubes, and that's also how he listens to lectures, is while he's practicing his Rubik's Cubes.
Oh, that's good. I
And
can't do Rubik's Cubes either.
he's competitive enough. He's hoping to go to Worlds.
Oh, wow. That is insane. I've seen videos of people
Like,
doing that in like split seconds, and I'm like, I can't even do it in an hour.
I cannot do it, but he's who I call if I can't get something mechanical done. I'm like, hi, come down and help Auntie out real quick. And I do have issues. So you have issues because you don't like doing all this on your own. You have a website, not just your book, but you've got a website for people to join. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. It's called playdumandsabotage.com. And they can connect with me there if they have any questions. They could absolutely ask me questions on there. I will be doing like a free PDF with a worksheet for parents and caregivers, teachers, about how to incorporate playing dumb and sabotage throughout their day. And also, I'll be posting any podcasts that I've been on, as well as some events that I will be either presenting at or be hosting myself.
That is great. We're going to put all that information down in the description. We also have Lita's Tap Styles podcast now has its own website. So we're putting you down there as a guest for all eternity. You're on there as a guest.
Thank you.
I absolutely love, like I said, the book is just, it needs to be read by anyone who's working with kids, be it kids with complex needs or even neurodiverse kids. I think it would help a lot.
Absolutely. I think any parent or caregiver, anybody who works with children, I think it'd be applicable to them as well. Like it's just super, when you think about it, it makes sense. But oftentimes people don't think about it.
I think part of mine was, I was like, I have had her for 13 years. Both my husband and I went through speech and language pathology for years.
Yeah.
I got done, Lita and I were both done by elementary school. He was still in it far past elementary school. We don't talk about when he got done with speech and language pathology. I know there is, like my nephew, he wasn't far enough delayed, even though he has autism and everything. They were like, you're not delayed enough to get support. Or Lita was too delayed to get support. And I think for parents who are struggling because they're in those, not the Goldilocks kids, I think this could be very helpful in their struggles.
Thank you. I think so too.
It was Brian who needed speech therapy, and they told my sister he was 2 weeks away from the cutoff.
No,
But
that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
he speaks now, but my sister struggled trying to figure out, I'm an engineer. I don't know anything about speech and language pathology, and went and read as much as she could, but she's an engineer. She's going to go read every paper out there.
Absolutely. And my book, I tried to write it as conversational as possible so that anybody could pick it up. It's not like a textbook, it's not dry and here's information that you need to read and not really experience. I made every chapter applicable to have it be practice exercises at the end of every chapter so they can actually read something and then apply it.
And I noticed that, and that was an amazing thing. I'm like, most of these books you're looking at are written for the therapist. They're not written for the parents.
Yeah.
And this one, like I said, I can hand it to our teachers and go, here, read. And the therapists are like, oh my God, this is great. And the non-therapists are like, yeah, this is amazing. I haven't seen anything written like this that you can just hand to a parent or a caregiver and go, here, read.
Thank you. Thank you. That means so much to me.
It really, and I've worked as an advocate and as a constituent assistant for 20 years dealing with parents. And I am definitely going to tell a bunch of my friends in Congress here, you need to start handing this book out.
Thank you. I would love for it to be in the hands of everybody that it can be. And that would mean so much to me if it was able to be in everybody's hands.
It definitely, it wasn't written. I've read enough papers to know that this was something that you could write a wonderful academic paper on, but it wasn't written as an academic paper. And that amazed me when I was reading it.
Thank you.
I think your book is going to educate so many people because I think a lot of traditional dance studios need to read this too, because when they're dealing with autistic kids or any kid with a speech delay, they're like, yes, we can deal with it. And then they realize they don't know anything about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for watching the podcast, and please subscribe and also look at the adorable paper. So if you want to subscribe for it, and also please leave a like. And don't forget, if you subscribe to our stuff, you won't miss any of our new podcast stuffies. And also, did you see the adorable paper? Don't you like it?
For coming on. We will probably be bugging you in a few more months going, hey, Jeaneen, come back on. We have more questions as we've been doing this.
Please, anytime. I would love to come back.
And other than your website, is there anywhere else people can find you on the internet?
I am on Instagram. I have Play Dumb and Sabotage is my business Instagram, and then my personal is JT808.
All right. Lita, can you say thank you for coming on?
Okay, well.
You're welcome.
That's Lita. Thank you when she's in a good mood.
You're welcome, Lita. It's nice to meet you.
She doesn't do her mousy and animal noises unless she actually likes someone. So that's a good sign. Thank you so much for coming on, Jeaneen, and being understanding with all the software stuff.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thanks.
Okay, well, thank you for watching the podcast, and please subscribe and also look at the adorable paper. So if you want to subscribe for it, and also please leave a like. And don't forget, if you subscribe to our stuff, you won't miss any of our new podcast stuffies. And also, did you see the adorable paper? Don't you like it?